Okay, thank you. I'm going to kind of draw inspiration from the three excellent presentations we've had so far and sort of try and put a few of my own ideas out, try and pull things together a bit. I would argue that we do seem to be in something of a recession as far as the environment is concerned at the moment. These are rather quiet times. We've had the orgy of scepticism about climate change. We have the real recession itself coming out of the prospect of big cuts in public expenditure. All these things make it a rather tough time for those of us who are interested in the environment. Okay, so it's a bit difficult at the moment. But my other message is, don't worry, something will turn up. Something big will happen. In the lifetime of this government, this new coalition government, I'm absolutely confident that something huge will come along, because it always does. I'm sure maybe a few months ago in the States they were kind of wondering whether there'd be great interest in the environment ever again. Something big will happen. There will be a spike in the kind of graphs we've been shown already. The environment will become a very big issue. And it'll drop back again. But what we are seeing in the long term is a gradual ratcheting up. These issues are becoming more acute at the national and the international level. Really, I think the only way is up. We have to give this whole sphere of environmental concern more and more attention. Okay, so that was really my first thought. And I was interested also in the graph that showed that the public share this view. The public think that the environment is going to become more important. That's because it's a kind of received wisdom. I mean, the tragedy, of course, that if only we were making it a more important issue now, we would avoid it becoming a more important issue in the future because it'd be on top of the problems. But as ever in human affairs, it will be a case of too little, too late to a certain degree. The second sort of sphere I wanted to cover was this notion that we have a huge environmental establishment now. We didn't 20 years ago. I mean, this event going on around us, this enormous trade fair, the kind of hundreds of millions of pounds of investment, the huge range of products all around us. This is a very big deal indeed. If you like, you could think of the environment as three, the environmental industries, the environmental agenda as three big areas: carbon and energy, resources and waste, and biodiversity. They all interconnect, but in all three of them, we now have what amounts to a very big establishment, a huge coalition of government, of NGOs, of industry, who are all thinking along the same lines, who all recognise how big the problem is, who all kind of want to take the people on a journey, who kind of can see that very big changes need to be made. And there's an argument about the detail of those changes. There's an argument about what kind of technology you deploy, but it's clear the rough direction we have to go in all of those. We need to put far more land aside for nature conservation. We do need to do a much better job of conserving nature. Resources and waste, the direction there is clear. Far more resource efficiency, far less waste, observing the race hierarchy. Carbon, the whole challenge of decarbonising, of kind of, in 20 or 30 years achieving, well, actually only 10 years achieving our very ambitious national carbon targets. The most enormous agenda. But we haven't really taken the public with us nearly enough. The establishment has moved well ahead of the public, increasingly ahead of the public. And I think that's a huge challenge. Several other speakers have referred to this already. That is a huge challenge over the coming years, getting the public on board. Much more difficult than I think we once thought, needs much more attention. The third thing I wanted to talk about briefly was the new government, the new coalition government. Again, we're in a kind of sort of slightly phony period now. We're just waiting to see what happens. If you look at the coalition, the programme for government, that's actually a pretty, as far as the environment is concerned, that is genuinely a fairly exciting document. It really is, I really do mean that. I think if this coalition lasts and achieves most of what is in that agreement, the environment will be in better shape. They will have made some real gains. The question is, will they? Of course. Environmental issues do have the potential to be some of the most divisive issues within the coalition. I think they really do. There's some big stuff over there which gives some big scope for disagreements and fallings out. And secondly, the coalition could find itself being blown off course by the recession and by the lack of funds, which will be a real problem for many environmental issues, for much environmental progress, but also by public backlash and by the media. I think there are that some parts of the mass media could very easily put the coalition in some real hot water over some of their environmental ideas. Aviation taxes, is just one obvious example. You know, there could be many others, but I don't think it'll be plain sailing at all for the new government. They will face resistance they can't really imagine at this stage. So I think very exciting time to hit the environment. It'll be difficult, but it'll be really interesting to observe, to follow. Thanks very much.
Thank you.